I've been wrapped up in this fucking trial. It's this guy in South Carolina, Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh. He's like old money. His family's these prominent lawyers that go back 100 years in the county, and he is accused of murdering his wife and son very subtly, very subtle murders, by turning their heads into jello with different firearms at close range.
Oh,
So the problem with it is twofold. One, the state does not seem to have any explanation for how they're dead other than somebody shot them and it must be him. They can't put him there at the time of the shooting. There's no blood on him that makes any sense. Because, I mean, when they describe the son's like body, there's like blood everywhere. There's brain on the ceiling. Jesus. And this guy is pristine. They can't find a drop of blood on him. I mean, he's there.
Did he change his clothing? I mean, what, did they arrest him directly after? Did he go walk into the lake and then take his shirt off and pretend a curly-haired man attacked his family and ran down the beach?
Kinda. So
this is the Sam Shepard case, Nick.
Yeah.
Remember that from the 1950s? Oh my God. I washed up on the beach with no shirt. Yeah, because it was covered in blood, you asshole.
Right.
And you put it in the water. And
well,
nobody
see,
ever found it.
Here's the problem is if he did that, there's a whole bunch of weird shit. First of all, the wife and the son are killed by two different guns, which doesn't make a ton of sense. Like one is a 300 blackout rifle round, and the other is a shotgun round. Well, two shotgun rounds. They can't find either gun. They don't know what gun was used, either of them. If he changed clothes, they had full search warrants of all of the property. Couldn't find it. They can't account for the other problem is he had to do all this in like 10 minutes. He had to kill wife and son, walk 0.3 of a mile back to his house, presumably showered, changed clothes, got in the guns, drove to his mother's house who has Alzheimer's. I guess disposed of everything somewhere along the way. No one knows where any of this happens. Then he drives back and then calls 911 to report the murders. And then is like the most convincing actor ever as he's sitting there like hysterical.
Is he crying? He's crying and everything.
He's very shook and and manic as he's talking about it. It sounds real. I don't know.
Not guilty.
That's
not
the
guilty. I just got to say, like, I think we need to throw, Nick, maybe you'll disagree with me about this, but we got to throw these guys who are careful planners a bone, because
I agree.
I'd like to think, if I'm about to murder some people, careful planning and my intellect, having all the bases covered, my knowledge of true crime and all the stuff that I've watched, I've learned, that's going to pay off in the end. If my performance is good, if I do everything right. I mean, they let that bitch Casey Anthony off. You know what I mean? I don't think that's ridiculous. They let O.J. Simpson off. These are two guilty people. But you know what? Not guilty. Reasonable doubt. That's what it sounds like to me. And I think like we should be sending that message out to people that if you're going to do this, killing in
do it well.
Yeah, like first degree murder, you're going to get caught. But second degree murder, take your time, cover your bases, plan things out. Give yourself a couple of weeks. Yeah. And make sure that you got it down pat. Like that's what I would say.
See, I would agree. Although if you're actually fair about it, you want to go to trial, be exonerated for it, and then be like, see, they said I was innocent. That's what OJ's been living on for all this time. Then he even wrote a book about it. He's like, hey, listen, man, obviously I didn't do it because they said I was innocent. But if I did do it, here's how I would.
We do have another person who can maybe even shine some light on that and how to properly murder someone, but do it dispassionately so people don't suspect. What's up, Sean? Potentially criminal. How you doing, brother?
I was terrified you were going to bring in O.J. Simpson. I would have left.
I was trying to explain to our guests who obviously are normal people and not sitting around watching these damn things all day. Like how weird this case is that the state is just not putting it together, but like they're convinced that he killed these two people, but they just don't have any theory or narrative story as to how it happened.
Yeah, and it also just I still can't get over the fact that they admit, like, oh yeah, we found us all this evidence that may support the theory that somebody else murdered these two people, but like, yeah, we kind of just like drove our cars all over it and didn't collect it.
Yeah, I left out a lot of the
Yeah.
case. They're the police work. They keep saying like, well, we should have done that. Maybe that
Well,
should have
it's-
happened.
And I'm not trying to make fun of stuff, but it was just the way they responded to things. Like the one officer is like, "Yeah, there was some brain water on the floor." I was like,
Yeah, that was gross.
oh yeah, they just were so not involved, like worried about doing anything to figure out who did it. There's like, yeah, there's dead bodies.
And
know-
the most brutal part of the trial though was in the first couple days during the opening arguments when the defense attorney is delivering his opening argument, and this guy whose wife and son have been murdered, and he's like, and when they arrive, his brains are on the floor, they're on the walls, they're on the ceiling, they're dripping down his body.
Off the ceiling fan.
And the guy's just sitting there like like weeping in the courtroom and like hyperventilating as his child is being described as having like no face or head left. Basically, it's like Jesus, like, and it's his attorney doing it. The guy's just like, oh God, and he's like, and then the wife, and you're like, oh, come on, this poor bastard.
Imagine. Do you know? I tried to watch. I was like, I'm gonna watch this shit earlier.
Oh, you picked today. Today,
Oh,
was
dude, there was a
rough
chick
day.
opening a damn box for it. I was like,
Yeah, the
it took me like an
forensics.
hour.
The forensics lady, they hand her a box and a pair of scissors. And you're like, all right, Amazon comes every day. No big deal. Right? It took her a goddamn hour, and no joke, to open a fucking box and then cut through some construction paper that she had wrapped a seatbelt in, the seatbelt that they removed from the car. It took so long, the judge called a recess and came back, and she wasn't done. It was
What?
insane. This is
I liked
Ugh.
all the autistic evidence collection of like one bullet in a bag. They put it in a little envelope. They put like everything in its own little envelope.
Yeah, they collected like 30 bullets from around the house, and just each one get this little manila envelope or whatever, and then they all went into one giant baggie, and they're like, this is number 138, 300 blackout round cartridge. Number 139, 300 blackout round cartridge. Like, fuck.
And she still had like another bag in her lap too to go.
It's terrible.
Are you covering this on your channel, on this channel? Because I haven't heard of this
Yeah.
case. I'm fascinated already.
Oh yeah, it's expected to go for 3 weeks, so you can pop in at any time. I'm covering it. It's 9 to 5 each weekday. Well, it starts at 8:30 Central.
It's Eastern.
Yeah, because it's on Eastern time. But yeah, it's hopefully it'll pick up when they start to tell the fucking story. Right now they're in the forensic evidences or forensic witnesses, which are just boring.